Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to share with you some holy grail underrated makeup items that I just don't hear talked about nearly enough, and I use these things all the time. I did pull out a couple of items that I know are going to be in my upcoming best of 2019 video because I knew that was going to be really repetitive since those videos are going to be right around the corner. But all of these items I use constantly, and I've been using pretty much all of them way before 2019 ever started, and they deserve more love from other people, and you guys need to know about them if you're not familiar with them already. And these are all makeup products, so we're just talking makeup today, and I have various items in here, so we can go ahead and get started. But if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing before the end of this video and become part of the family. Okay, so I'm going to start with what I have on my lips today, because it feels really good and I think it looks really nice and cohesive with the rest of my makeup. Now, if you've been following my channel for some time, you've heard me mention this lip product, but I love it. I've already finished a tube of it in one shade, and I have several shades working right now. I wear this in some shape or form or shade pretty much every single day. It's either my lip color of the day, or I apply it when I sit down at my makeup table so that it can hydrate and plump up my lips before I go in with whatever I'm actually wearing on my lips as my lip color of the day. So these are the City Lips Plumping Lip Glosses, and what I have on today over a nude lip liner is the shade Nude York, which is just a really pretty kind of golden beige nude shade. I'll show you some of the other shades I like in a minute. The reason why I really appreciate and enjoy these particular plumping lip glosses and think they deserve all the raves and are worth the cost, for me anyway, is because they don't sting and burn like a lot of the lip plumpers that are out there, and they really work to plump out those vertical lip lines to give your lips a nice full look, but they're not overly sticky, and they make your lips feel nice and hydrated too. So most days I'll sit down at my makeup table and I'll put a very thin layer of just any shade that I have on, and I'll just let it do its hydrating and plumping job while I sit here and apply my makeup. And then I'll blot it off and apply my lip liner and my lipstick of the day. And my lips are nice and hydrated and plumped. I have had people ask me if I've had my lips done after I've applied these, and that is just how well they work. I really love them. So some other shades that I like are Pink Nude, which is just a pinkish brownish nude that has no shimmer. Most of the ones that I like have a little bit of a sheen to them, but that's personal preference. And they do have a red shade that I'm very interested in but do not have yet. The shade that I emptied, that I went through a full tube of, and I have a new one, is the shade Sun Diego. This is just a golden peachy pink shimmer. I just think it's so pretty, so great for spring and summer. And the shade Tinseltown is kind of a sheer pink. You can wear it on its own and it kind of comes across as a clear gloss. They do have a clear as well. I love these. I think they're completely underrated. I very rarely hear people talk about them, but I've tried a lot of plumping glosses, and these win for me, hands down, over any that I've ever tried. This is a bronzer that I just think is so beautiful, and I very rarely hear it talked about, and I don't understand why. This is the Flower Beauty Heatwave Luminous Bronzer, and I think there may be a few shades in this, I'm not sure. This is the shade Sunrise L1. It's got kind of a luminous, radiant finish, but it's not glittery. It looks like it's gonna be this weird kind of gray shade, but it's not. It's actually really warm on the skin. I'm not sure if you're actually even going to be able to see that based on this swatch. Yeah, I think you can. This is a great drugstore bronzer. Now, from what I understand, Walmart has stopped carrying Flower Beauty in stores. You can only get it online at walmart.com as well as flowerbeauty.com. But for the price and for how this functions on the skin, just to give that luminous sun-kissed glow, this is highly underrated. I just think it's so pretty, and it does last all day long. I think if you're someone who maybe didn't really like the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer for whatever reason, maybe the scent bothered you, or maybe it was the texture. I know a lot of people really love that bronzer, but some people just don't. Maybe it's the packaging. I'm one that I just really don't like Physicians Formula packaging. This one might be what you're looking for. I just love a bronzer that has just a nice subtle radiance to it because it tends to soften what we want softened. It tends to blur what we want blurred, and this does that really, really nicely. You know, I feel like I've had this eyeshadow palette in an underrated video before, but I can't remember, and I love it enough that I'm putting it in another video because it just deserves the love, and I feel like not that many people rave about it, and I don't know why. I know it can be a little bit pricey, but I feel like it's so versatile and it's so beautiful that it's totally paid for itself. I can basically travel with just this palette. I can get smoky looks out of it, daytime looks out of it, subtle looks, vampy looks. It just kind of does everything in a very streamlined palette. This is the Marc Jacobs Scandalized palette in the shade Glambition specifically. I know there are several of these palettes, but Glambition is the one that is just that neutral, but it just gives you everything you need. I find that there are so many neutral palettes out there that are leaning a little bit too warm or too cool, or they don't have a liner shade, or they have everything except for a brow bone highlight or a transition. This has literally everything you need in it to get whatever look you need. I mean, it's got the brow bone highlight, it's got the transition, it's got some nice shimmery shades if you want a golden shade or a champagne shade. It's got something to deepen up your crease, and it's got a brown and a black. If you want to deepen up your outer corner or line with these, they line beautifully. I just love this thing, and I don't hear hardly anybody talking about it, at least not as much as they should be. I feel like this should be one of the top neutral palettes for most people. I adore this. I just cannot express my love for this palette. I just can't. Now, I just recently mentioned this under eye product in another video, in a dupes video. I honestly do not think that I have given this product enough love. I don't think that anyone else has given it enough love either. So this is the Bare Minerals BarePro Concealer. I don't think you guys understand how much I reach for this on a daily basis. It lives in my rotating acrylic makeup tower that I just talked about in another video too. I just talked about that in my Amazon products you need video, whatever that's actually called. So this is a concealer stick, and this actually converted me over to liking stick concealers. Well, I'm sorry, not liking stick concealers, because I really overall don't like stick concealers, but this is a stick concealer that I do like because it is hydrating, and I have very dry under eyes and find a lot of stick concealers to emphasize the dryness and the texture, which is not what I want to do. But this was one that surprised me because it's actually really creamy and beautiful under the eyes. But the reason why I do use this so much is because of the convenience. When I am wanting to get ready in a hurry and I still want my eyes to look really nice, this is what I reach for, because this takes a lot less time to dab on my fingers, dab under my eyes, and blend it out than a liquid concealer. Because it looks natural and yet it covers well, and because it applies so quickly and effortlessly, it's just great for quick makeup days or days when I'm wearing something like a powder foundation or a very sheer or light foundation. It just works for all of those different occasions, and so it just lives on my vanity, and I reach for it. It's looking kind of nasty in there. I don't know if you can see that. I actually have this in a shade for under my eyes and then a shade for my face too, because it does cover spots on the face really, really well too. And I just don't hear anybody talking about this. I don't know about you guys, but this is a product that I use constantly and hardly ever hear anybody talk about it. I think Shelby Wilson is one other person that I hear mention this. So if you guys hear other people talk about any of these products, let me know down below, because I would like to know that I'm not alone. Okay, now here's one that I really never hear anybody talk about. I might be the only person to talk about it, so much so that I'm pretty sure they're going to discontinue it sometime soon. And I keep thinking, because the foundation is becoming such a hit, maybe that the powder will be suggested and people will discover the powder too. I don't know. So this is the Stila in the Buff powder spray. Now this is also a powder that lives on my vanity. Another powder has kind of surpassed it that's going in my best of 2019 video. But prior to discovering that powder, this was the one that I was reaching for the most, even over my Lancome Long Time No Shine powder, which says a lot. So it's got a pump and you just puff out some powder. I guess that's the only way I know how to put it. Puff out some powder, either onto the back of your hand so you can dip your brush in it, or you pump the powder straight onto your brush. It's not the most efficient system, but the powders are really, really good. So I've thought about actually decanting the powder into another container. I just haven't done that yet. But the reason why I like the powder so much is because it is very, very finely milled. I'm not even sure if you're going to be able to see this on the back of my hand, but it's very finely milled, very, very silky, smooth. It totally blurs the pores, and it really does mattify for a long time, but it doesn't make my face look dry either. Now that said, I don't love it underneath my eyes. I really like it more for, you know, my face, my T-zone, that kind of thing. But I feel like it would work for all skin types and not make your face look dry or parched if you have dry skin. And quite honestly, I do like traveling with it because of the container. It just takes up less room. It's easily accessible. I've seen it in Ulta. You can order it online. It's really nice. It's beautiful. I very rarely, if ever, hear anybody talk about it. Okay, so this next product is a primer that I use a ton, and I used to talk about it, or after I first discovered it, I talked about it a ton, and I haven't talked about it in a while, but I need to re-mention it because I do use it a lot. I don't know if any of you are like me, but because I have oily combination skin, if I try to just wash my face in the morning, do my skincare, and not wear any foundation or primer or anything, my face just is oily. Like, even if I just wear one of my normal primers, if I don't put foundation or powder or something on, I can't get away with doing that. My face is just oily. So this is one of the primers that I like to use, actually pretty much the primer that I like to use if I want to even out my skin tone and combat the oil. And it's also my favorite primer to use underneath powder foundations because it is so good at fighting that oil but not leaving my face feeling dry. Kind of like those BB or CC creams, the ones that pump out white, but then when you start rubbing them into the skin, they even out your skin tone because they start to turn the color of your skin and kind of turn into a light coverage foundation almost. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does. It's got these little micro bead pigments in here that just start to even out your skin tone. This is the Fleur de Vie Smooth Operator Skin Perfecting Primer. I love wearing it alone. I love wearing it under makeup. It does a great job of keeping my T-zone not greasy and evening out my skin tone. I don't feel like I have anything on my face, and it's just great for those of us who do combat that oily T-zone or oily skin in general. And I know it's, you know, not a national company, but those tend to be the underrated products, right? The ones that don't get enough love, and I never would have known about this had she just not sent it my way. And yeah, I really, really do love this stuff, and it sits on my vanity. I use it under powder foundation, I use it underneath sheer foundations, and I use it alone. And if I'm just wearing powder, it's the primer that I choose to use underneath powder most times. So this is a highlighter that is for those of you who are a little bit intimidated by highlighters. And I do feel like this is completely underrated for that reason. I do hear people talking about it, but less and less so lately. And I don't know if that's because so many highlighters keep coming out and keep coming out and keep coming out, and so it just kind of gets pushed aside. But also maybe because it is a more subtle highlight, and you know, people that are really into highlighters don't like subtle highlights, but there are those of us that are a little bit older, we're, you know, 40 and over, and we appreciate a highlight that is going to lift that cheekbone, but we want one that's not going to highlight the bad stuff. You know, you don't want the wrinkles highlighted, you don't want the pores highlighted, and this one is really great for that, and I just feel like it needs a little bit more love. This is the Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder Highlight 01. It's not the sleekest of packaging, but man, you get product in here that is going to last you forever. I mean, look, it's got this little mound. I mean, it is the perfect champagne shade. You actually get a beautiful sheen that is a sheen. There's no glitter. There's nothing chunky that's going to highlight the things you don't want it to highlight. And yet you do get that highlight that is going to highlight the things you want it to. That's the purpose of a highlight, is to focus on the good, to highlight the features you want highlighted. And this does that really well, especially if you are, you know, not 20, not 25, not 30 anymore. So I feel like this just deserves a little bit more love. And this is something that just is a staple for me. And I feel like it's great in a professional environment. It's great if you're going out to dinner. It's just a beautiful, beautiful product. I'm going to talk about two mascaras here. I only have one in front of me though. I have not restocked the other one, but I have not forgotten about it. I just have too many mascaras to go through, but I will restock it. I definitely will, because it is so very good. This is the Buxom Lash Mascara, and the other one is Butter London Double Decker Mascara. So when I received this, did I even show you the front of this? I don't know. So when I received this from Buxom, it immediately brought the Butter London Double Decker Mascara to mind. I don't know why I associate the two of them. So this has the plastic kind of bristles here and a curved wand, which I really like because it separates the lashes really nicely and it gives great volume. I have really sparse lashes and I need volume. Both of these mascaras give me great volume. They don't smudge, they don't flake, and I find that they don't dry out really quickly the way some mascaras do. So these have been just holy grail mascaras for me that I just rotate in every now and then for good reason, and I feel like hardly anybody talks about these. We hear about Hourglass Caution, we hear about NARS Climax, we hear about Too Faced Better Than Sex, Benefit Roller Lash, all of these other mascaras, but we never really hear about Buxom Lash Mascara. I can't remember the name of this. Buxom Lash Mascara and Butter London Double Decker. I mean, we never hear about those mascaras and they are so good. Definitely underrated and definite holy grails for me. So I just kind of wanted to keep this video casual and talk to you about some products that I really love, that I use so much and hardly ever hear anybody talking about. And I want to hear yours. What do you use all the time, day in and day out, and hardly ever hear anybody give any love to? Let me know that in the comments down below. If you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button, become part of the family. Give this video a thumbs up too if you enjoyed it. It definitely helps out my video and helps my channel out as well. If you have not seen my most recent dupes video, I will link you to that. You can go check that out when you are finished here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and I will see you in my next video. Bye.